What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. Welcome to the 50th episode of this series. It's honestly so surreal that we made it this far. I've often said that this series wasn't guaranteed to make it past the first episode, and now we're here for the 50th episode with still a long way to go. Shout out to everyone that showed love these past 50 episodes. I really appreciate it. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. For today's episode, I thought it might be appropriate to take it back to where the series started. My favorite course, Tock at 200cc. On May 8th, 2017, the world record for this run was set at 1 minute 17.225 seconds by the English player Finn. A few years later, on February 10th, 2021, the record was brought down to 1 minute 13.660 seconds by Dutch legend Stur. That's a 3.5 second improvement between records and a 4.6% faster time. Our former world record holder Finn has broken 35 world records across 5 unique runs and has spent just under 250 days holding at least one world record. Our current world record holder Stur has broken over 230 world records across 14 unique runs and has spent over 1100 days holding at least one of his 10 current world records, the third most by any one player. At pre-release, the world record was just over 121, but would soon dip under 119 thanks to the duel between Finn and French player Play. As they went head-to-head in a race to 117, Finn would eventually pull away from Play and fend off T. Tyler before battling with Jimmy for a while after dipping under 116. Jimmy and Finn actually tied at one point before American player Carson took over in a quest for yet another second break. In August of 2018, he would put up 9 of the next 10 world records, including this 114.1 that would stand for over 430 days. At that point, Soman and Stur began their duel for the next second break. Soman would grab the first 113, but Stur was able to pull away, dropping 0.3 of a second in the process. In total, the world record was broken 79 times by 12 different players. These two loadouts have the same driver but are miles apart in some performance stats. Finn goes with the combo of Roy driving the Splat Buggy with the slim wheels and the Cloud Glider, while Stur also picks Roy but behind the wheel of the Biddy Buggy with the Azure Rollers and the Paper Glider. Here's another example of the past world record holders not being in the know about what stats were important. The only stat that Finn can flex is his top speed, where he leads by nearly 2 points, but it's not enough to put up a 113. Stur loads up on the important stats with 2-point advantages in the acceleration and mini turbo stats. Those near max stats paired with his better handling are surely going to help him do some amazing things on this track. Just you wait. The track itself is honestly deserving of all its praise. Everybody loves Tock, and this modern spin on this DS classic makes for pretty chaotic races, but also a super complex time trial, especially at 200cc. Let's have a look. Finn uses his first mushroom out of the gate before grabbing this quick mini turbo and jump boost around the first turn. When he lands, he'll bear left for another quick mini turbo through the 2 zippers to close out the first section. Stur also uses his mushroom right out of the gate and grabs the same mini turbo and jump boost before bearing left himself. Instead of going for the zipper ramps, however, he stays closer to the middle to be able to chain another quick mini turbo before closing out this section. Now, as close as these two racers are to each other, I have to point out that Finn's strat of going wide for the zippers was slightly faster, as he's built a soon-to-be non-existent lead over Stur that sits at 2/100ths of a second going into S2. Finn starts to charge up a prolonged mini turbo off both of these ramps before releasing it for the super mini turbo heading into the underbelly of this course. He'll hit 2 consecutive jump boosts, miss the next one, then hit one more before starting his next drift into S3. Stur instead grabs a quick mini turbo before the first ramp, and after getting the jump boost, he charges up a prolonged ultra mini turbo off the second ramp and around the next turn. Once he hits the straight, he grabs 5 consecutive jump boosts off either the ramp or the teeth of the gears. Obviously 5 jump boosts is better than 3, but those longer lasting mini turbos also contributed to Stur's lead, which now sits at over 0.6 of a second going into S3. Finn grabs a quick mini turbo around the first turn before chaining that with a super mini turbo he'll release, then hop onto the wand of this clock and ride out the boost to the other side, after which he just rides on through to the finish line. Stir cuts even more of this first turn out before starting another drift and using his mushroom to perform this wild maneuver where he hops to the part of the wand you can trick off of and miraculously lands on the other side to close out the lap. Using 2 mushrooms on lap 1 like that obviously builds a lead, but the better lines and longer lasting mini turbos all pulled together to bring that lead to over 1.4 seconds after lap 1. Finn starts off the lap by grabbing the same mini turbo and jump boost around the first turn before sticking to the left for the 2 zippers on his way into S2. No real difference here. Stir follows in those same tire tracks, but he's able to fit in an extra jump boost at the hand of the center clock after grabbing the mini turbo beforehand, and still chains the second one before the end of the section, where his lead has grown to 1.5 seconds at the end of S1. Finn goes with the same drift off the first and second ramp, but in between, he uses his second mushroom to charge up an ultra mini turbo around the final turn before the tunnel. He'll hit 3 jump boosts again, but in different places as he makes his way to, quite literally, the end of the tunnel. No changes to Stir's approach here. After grabbing the quick mini turbo and jump boost off the first ramp, he charges up his ultra mini turbo off the second one and around the final turn before hitting those same 5 jump boosts in the tunnel as he makes his way to S3, holding a commanding 1.7 second lead over Finn. Now, both racers actually do S3 the same on lap 2. They grab their quick mini turbo around the first turn, then charge up a longer one as they glide along the entire hand of the clock to cut out the final turn again and grab the ultra mini turbo to close out the lap. After 2 laps of incredibly precise timing and driving, Stir has done all but put the nail in the coffin of Finn's former world record as he leads by over 1.9 seconds going into the final lap. Finn hits that same mini turbo and jump boost as he did on the previous 2 laps before bearing left for the zippers and second mini turbo before starting the next section. Stir hits that exact same first turn, but when he lands, he'll charge up only 1 mini turbo and hit the jump boost off the wand, which cancels out his second mini turbo from the previous laps. It's all the same to him though, as his lead has grown to 2 seconds going into S2. Similar to lap 2, Finn starts drifting off the first ramp, using his mushroom, and continuing that drift off the second ramp and around the final turn for the ultra mini turbo. Through the tunnel, it's the same 3 jump boosts in different places before the final section. About the only difference we'll find in Stir's S2 on lap 3 is that he'll be on the left side of the gears through the tunnel as he hits the same 5 jump boosts once more before taking on the final stretch, now ahead by over 2.4 seconds at the end of S2. With no mushrooms left, Finn starts off around the first turn with his quick mini turbo and follows that up with a similar super mini turbo to lap 1 before hopping on the hand of the clock to cut the last turn out and ride out the boost straight on through to the finish line. Now we can take a closer look at Stir's crazy maneuver. After basically turn skipping the first turn, Stir starts to charge up a mini turbo. During that charge, he'll use his final mushroom to get to the speed he needs to hop and fly far enough to hit the round part of the hand for the very precise jump boost to the other side of the turn. After a great recovery, he'll ride out the boost to the finish line and post a time that was over 3.5 seconds faster than Finn's former world record. So by hitting more than double the amount of jump boosts, hitting more longer lasting mini turbos, and about 75 seconds of incredibly precise driving, Stir was able to cement his now second longest lasting world record to date. I would have loved to have him on to explain the run himself, but we couldn't make that happen for the season finale and I feel terrible. So instead, we're just going to jump ahead to the best known splits. The best known splits for this run show that as incredible as this run is, it's nowhere near as fast as it could be. Pretty wild considering that there's still multiple tenths that can be knocked off this world record. 3 players own a piece of the best known sometime, and they are for sure an interesting set of splits. Stir's world record laps 1 and 2 are around 8 frames away from his opponent's best known split, but it's his own world record lap 3 that is the best known split, so there's a bit of flexing from both sides. 260 milliseconds is a lot of time to knock off, and it's wild that Stir is still number 1 in the world with so much improvement left to be made. The worldwide top 10 consists of 9 national and 4 continental record holders. It's basically the United Nations. Stir sits at the top of the world, his closest competitor Soman is just 12 milliseconds behind, and Spanish record holder Alberto rounds out the top 3, 2/10 back. The 4, 5, and 6 spots belong to the German, French, and American record holders in Alpha, Army, and Jimmy L, all separated by 2 1/100ths of a second. The bottom 4 of this leaderboard share less than 8 1/100ths of a second in separation and include German player Verlust and our former world record holder Finn, Canadian record holder Eternal X, and Oceanic record holder Max Arx. Stir and Somen put up 16 world records between them and had quite the battle on this course. A battle that seems to be unfinished considering how close Somen is to the top spot. Maybe he'll come back and take the record, or maybe Stir's narrow victory was all he needed to put the battle to rest. And that's the end of episode 50 and the final episode of season 5. As I write this script, I really cannot believe that this is the 50th episode of this series. I cannot thank you all enough for the support. Every view, like, and comment means a lot to me, and I'm glad I get to make this content for you guys. Season 6 will be here before you know it, and I'll be looking for any way to improve the series even more. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like and share it with your friends, and comment on which chorus you'd like me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.